Yay, we're here.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Hi. Okay. So I don't know who will join us this early in the morning, but hopefully we'll get some good joiners. I know it's not really early on the East Coast, so I mean,
I know almost everybody's up by now, but
yeah. True,
hang
true,
on.
true.
We got
Yeah,
the. I was gonna say we've got the West Coast who hasn't even woke up yet, so we're never
that's
gonna
it.
make everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's what recordings are for.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Exactly.
I'm sure we'll get some joiners at some point. So, all right, there we have a joiner. We have Richard. What's up, Richard? Welcome. All right. So, we're here today for this special early morning edition of Curious Business, which is my Wednesday show. So it's perfect. And I'm here today with Amanda, the founder and creator, formulator of Mama Jane's Cleaner, which, in my opinion, is a magical elixir that has solved many of my problems. Hated cleaning cannabis items, and now I actually love it. So because it smells good, and I'm not afraid that I'm going to burn my skin or my nostrils or be bad for my health. So, welcome, Amanda. Thank you
Thank,
so much for being here.
thank you for having me. I love the ability to be on the Hi Curious app, and I'm so excited to be able to use it more and have that just become just the main platform that I use personally. So I am so honored to be here. Thank you,
Well,
Lauren.
thank you. It means so much to me because I know that this is something that a lot of brands need. All brands really need a community, a place where they can, like, I hate to use the word collect because you don't really collect people, but like a place where all of the people who are your best brand fans are in one spot. And that's what I hope to create for Mama Jane's Cleaner. So I'm so excited that we're getting started.
Oh, you already have. Me too. Me too.
All right, so we were gonna spend some time this morning, I think, digging into like your storytelling and hear about, why you started the business, where you're going, and things like that. And I have some questions, and then I'm just gonna close my door. Um,
You're all right. We're out back, so my dogs. I've got dogs.
so I just felt like I was sitting down on the bench next to you. It was really weird. So I'm like, hey, girl.
I know it's hard.
It's nice. So, yeah, then I have a couple questions about kind of what we're gonna do together and stuff like that to lead to that. So, all right, when I look over here, it's just because that's where I keep the comments for Hi Curious. So just know. But right now we just have Richard. So hi, Richard. All right. My first question is, I'd love to hear your cannabis story.
Yeah. So, I'm a mom of three kids. I had three kids under the age of three, and I was just always helping them, picking them up, walking them. I mean, children under the age of one automatically need you. Children under the age of two still need your help. Children under the age of three, they still need you. So just it got to the point where I didn't want to be touched by my husband. I didn't want anything to do with my husband just because I was always a mom. And I felt like I had kind of lost myself a little bit. And so my husband and his friend had recommended that I just try like a little piece of an edible, a cookie, actually. And it was a pretty good chunk. And so I felt comfortable enough to trust them that a little bit would just help. And they weren't exactly sure what it was going to help with, but they were like, hey, you need some help. Try this. And it changed my life. It 100% changed my life. It allowed me to separate the fact that I maybe was a mom, but I could also still be this fun, sexy wife, this woman still of myself. I wasn't just somebody who was tied and breastfeeding and changing diapers. I was more than that. And so it allowed me to gain that confidence back and really helped my libido in my bedroom. And I will definitely preach about that because moms, you don't have to be stuck. That sounds silly, but you don't have to be stuck in that phase where you don't want to touch your husband because you're touched all day. No, you matter too. And that relationship with your husband, your wife, your spouse, whoever it may be, still matters. And so I hope to encourage other people to go from that. And so with that step, it actually led me into looking more into it for my anxiety, and just hoping that one day I don't have to live with this anxiety that I do have. I want to learn how to cope with it, but I also want to learn how to, okay, why am I being anxious? I don't want to just numb the feelings. I want to get down to the root cause and I want to get rid of it. So for that, I really, really liked the benefit of cannabis, because in my family, I just have a lot of habits can become addictions very quickly. And so anytime that I look for anything, I want to make sure that I'm making a smart choice for myself and that I'm being a good example, because I have 3 children and I can't hide everything from them. I can't shelter them from everything. I choose to be a very honest mother. And so I hope to encourage them to do the same thing, that if they do have anxiety or stress or things like that, to learn that it's not something that you have to live with for the rest of your life. It's something that you can do your own research and find something. If cannabis is that, if there's other things, but I just hope that I encourage people to do their own research, to not have to live the way things are. Things can change, and you're in the power of that change. So that's what started.
It's so true, and it's crazy because when you're in that anxiety swirl, you almost don't know that that is anxiety. You just think that that's your life.
Yes.
And you're like, "Oh, this is how I am. This is how I feel. This is how I have to, like, this is what's going on," because your anxiety is a very manipulative emotion, and it makes you think that that's just the way it is and that there's no way out. And for me, and I totally agree with you, cannabis just like opens the door to be like, oh, wait, I don't have to sit in here in this crappy room. Like I could just be like, oh, there's a whole other room.
Yes.
Like, right? And like it's like you literally had no idea that the other rooms existed until cannabis just kind of like helped you open that door. And then we talk a lot about here about, that cannabis is a wellness supplement. And that's when I say supplement, I think about all the other things that are wellness supplements, like vitamins,
Mm-hmm.
caffeine, but also yoga and, meditation and getting out in nature and hydration. And all of those things are supplements to a well lifestyle, because being well is like work, being well is work. Like taking care of yourself is work. But like cannabis is like, it's like, it's for me, it was like the door that opened that said, I don't need, like, there is another place and I can use all these other things to get there. And I loved what you said about you don't want to, you want to get to a day where like you don't have this anxiety. And I don't know if that's like even, I mean, I hope for you that that's possible. But I also think that for me, I just think about it as like, I want to have more days when I'm even,
Yeah.
like I don't need to never have it. Like chances are like that's
Well,
an
probably.
unrealistic expectation for
Yeah.
me. But like being able to manage it, number one, is the most powerful thing. Right. And cannabis is such a big part of that. Um, anyway. All right. Okay, wait, I have to sneeze.
But you're exactly right. We might not. I mean, I guess my hope is that maybe like when the things used to cause me anxiety, maybe I can just take it. It doesn't feel as much as like a punch to the face. It more feels like just a little flick or something, you know.
Yeah, or for me, I really am so much more in touch with the feeling now of anxiety than I used to be. I just thought that that was how I felt. So now I can say, um, oh, this feeling is anxiety. And if I take a couple of deep breaths and maybe just close my eyes and even like meditate for 1 minute, maybe I can manage this anxiety, or maybe oh, this is anxiety. Let me go smoke weed to see if I can get this anxiety to lift, or maybe I should have an edible, or maybe I should have some CBD. So it's like, I think the most powerful thing is like naming it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And as a mom, that's exact. I try to teach my children when we get anxious or we get overwhelmed, we do something called the 5 candles. And all of my children know it. All of my children feel free to come up to an adult. And if they feel that you're anxious, they'll even offer it. But our thing is, we have 5 candles. If you're overwhelmed, do you want to blow out my candles? And so we take those 5 really deep breaths to blow out every single finger. And it's amazing at the end of it, kid or adult. Whoa, that breath of just, okay, this isn't normal. Just acknowledging this is anxiety. That's a huge step.
Yeah, huge. Have you watched the Brene Brown HBO Max special?
No, I don't.
I'm obsessed with Brene Brown, but there's this HBO Max like 6-part special that she did, and it's all about feelings and the definition of feelings. And I love what you just said about anxiety. Then you said overwhelm, right? Because some like anxiety isn't necessarily something that we need to like tell our kids that they have
No,
yet,
no.
but overwhelm and like this is a stressful situation, or like, oh, are you feeling scared, and trying to get them to name their emotions, you
Yeah.
know?
Yep. And
Yeah.
you think about, like, just a real quick thing. You think about if you get angry or something, like your anger, if you don't even take like 5 deep breaths, your anger can increase so quickly,
Oh my God.
And so if you can just take that minute to be like, okay, what just happened? And just
Right.
acknowledge what happened, then you're able to react in such a different way because it's like a second reaction because you're making yourself breathe as your first reaction. So
Yeah. You're such a good mom. Seriously.
I'm trying. I am not perfect. It's a trial.
Nobody's perfect. You're doing a great job. All right. So tell me, I want to talk about the business. Tell me about how you started Mama Jane's Cleaner and why. And then I have more questions, but that's the first one. How did you start Mama Jane's Cleaner and why?
So I started it. So as a mom of 3, I didn't want something else to clean. The oven was a pain in the butt. Our dishwasher, anything you have to clean is a pain in the butt. So personally, I didn't want something else to clean. And so when I found this concoction, I just kind of did it whenever my husband and I would smoke, or just friends. And at one point, one of my friends had said, "Hey, like this is the big deal. Like you should definitely recommend this and share this with others because I know I love it. I'm impressed with what you've created." And so it blossomed from there. I've had so many friends support me and encourage me. And I have met, like Lauren, I have met so many amazing people that are meant to be in my life that I would have not ever pushed myself to do with this business. But anyways, so yes, it cleans glass, silicone, and steel. And I wanted a concentrated cleaner because as a mom, I don't want to pay for water. So when I buy my laundry soap, when I buy my hand soap, when I buy certain things, I buy it as a concentrated form because I don't want to pay the extra for water. And so I decided to implement that with our cleaner as well. So it's a concentrated cleaner. A dropper bottle, a little bit goes a long way. We recommend 1 dropper full per piece, depending on the size, depending on how long it's been coated in resin as well. But we wanted it to be a concentrated cleaner just because of the sole fact nobody needs to pay for water. Nobody needs to do things like that. And then the best part is that it's all made out of plants. And so I have a huge love of plants and huge passion for it. We've got a huge garden growing over there. Elderberries in one part of my backyard. We used to have watermelon that took over our backyard. We love plants. And so to be able to put something in somebody's home, I wanted to feel comfortable that if maybe your kids opened the cabinet or got into it, that it was safe, that it wasn't going to cause a reaction on your skin, that it wasn't going to be something that you poison control immediately. So with that being said, we were able to create a cleaner that I just hope can bring that relief that I feel when I clean my pieces, that joy, the smell of it. Oh, it is so intended to bring you happiness because I love the smell of citrus, and the fact that we could use that as our smell. Yes, it's like I'm giving you a hug.
It really is. I love it. Yeah, Crystal's, hey Crystal, good morning. And Crystal's saying she's giving you the claps emojis. So I love it. You know, I love it. And that's why I'm like, oh my God, this is it. because I agree with your friends who, said you have something here, because you have something here. It's, I see a lot of other cleaners that are coming out now. There's a lot that are powders that, you add hot water to, and then, and all those are great too. I'm excited about everything that's happening. But what I'm really excited about Mama Jane's cleaner is that it's non-toxic and it's made with plants, and that feels really good for the moms who are, starting to maybe get a glass piece. They've moved up from, quick joint,
Or
and
the bottom hitters.
yeah, exactly. And they've gotten a nice glass piece. And if you're like me and you have a beautiful glass piece, you don't want it to look all junked up with resin, because that's like not the point. It looks beautiful. Like you bought a beautiful piece, so you want to keep it clean. So for me, I'm someone who cleans my pieces every day. Like some people don't clean their pieces till like once a week, but I clean my pieces every day because I feel like if I keep them clean, it's just so much easier just on the long run. Because if you get them nasty, it's just such a pain to clean.
It is.
So I try to clean them every day. So for me, this product, like, I didn't want to use ISO every day. I didn't want, I was afraid of that every day. So now with Mama Jane's cleaner, I use it at night. I just coat my bong piece with it, and I just like swish it around. And then in the morning, I add hot water to it. And then it's like, and like everything melts off. And then I just like pour it into the sink and put fresh water in it, and I'm good to go. And like, I think like for me, that's just a game changer, because before I used to have like a whole, like a whole like assembly line of cleaning.
You had to make your own concoction to be able to do it. Yeah.
So it's totally good. So Richard said, I could definitely use it when I visit my parents. At home, I don't have a problem with my sink smelling after I clean, but this would stop the smell at my parents. Yeah.
Oh, good. It
It
was.
would, but also I guarantee you, if you started using it at your parents, you'd just be like, "Oh, I'm going to use this all the time because it's so much easier than everything else."
Yeah.
Yeah. And Miss Crystal said she loves your cleaner; it's the best, and also it's so quick. It is. That's the best part about it. If your stuff is not that dirty, it's really, really quick.
Yes. Yeah. Very quick. It was intended. So, quick thing.
Yes.
Bacteria grows in your pieces, in the water that's in there, in 24 hours. Not multiple days, guys. In the one day, if you don't change that water, bacteria is growing and you're breathing it in, and no. So
No.
yes, that's exactly it. I clean my pieces at night, and then it's so much easier. But if you do let them coat and get sticky, and it's just a different process.
Yeah, I mean, it's still, your product really still works for that. It's just it takes a lot more patience.
Yes. Yeah. I wanted to add
And
a funny story. I had a
yeah,
man the other day in my DMs that had said, "Hey, I share a living space with people who don't approve of my cannabis use," and he said, "So I put your cleaner in the toilet every time that I take a hit, and so it never smells." I was thoroughly impressed. So
that's amazing. That reminds me of like poopery.
yes, expensive poopery, but your choice.
Yeah, I mean, poopery is also an oil. So it might be, it is an oil that like coats kind of the top of the water.
Yes.
So that's really interesting.
That was
Um right? Like, so everybody's saying gross to bacteria is gross. No, thank you. Ew. And yeah, like the whole point is wellness. That's one of the things that I get the most stressed out about using cannabis is just my health. And like, look, I'm realistic. Like that's going in the bong, like what's leaving in the bong, like what's going in here. Right. And I think about that a lot. And that's like probably the biggest like health concern that I have as a cannabis user. So like knowing that I can clean off the resin so that at least I'm not putting it back in, you
yeah.
know, is really amazing for me. All right. So now, I mean, I could talk about how much I love your product, but this is not about me. This is about you. So, so you started the business, and now that it's going, how's it
And
going? And
well,
like, what are your hopes and dreams? Like your expectations and hopes and dreams for the company?
okay, so my husband is a great dad, and our he's been working nonstop since we've had our kids. He's been a great supporter. I worked until we had our third child, and then it just got to the point where my teaching salary wasn't enough to even pay the daycare. So it just made sense for me to be home. And so I have had the ability to be home with my children every single day of their lives. And I would love the opportunity to give that to my husband, to just be able to see his daughters grow up before they turn 18, before they start a life. So we started this business in COVID. During the middle of COVID, my husband had lost his job, and we were garage sailing at the time for income. And so we decided to take a chance and start this. Willow, come. And so it became something that we hoped people would just love. And then it very quickly became, oh, people really do love this too. And they want to share about it. And I'm going to cry. And so one day we really hope to replace my husband's income and just have him be a full-time stay-at-home dad, whether it means we just want to be together. COVID was an incredible time for our family. And we really enjoyed getting to spend that time together as a family. You know, you have a family, and then you go to work, you kids go to school. Time just passes so much quicker than you assume, and faster than you want, you know. And so that is our goal, is to grow big enough to remain a small business, but a family business run by not just myself, but by my husband as well.
Well, and Tyler already is running the business with you. He's just also going to a full-time job.
Exactly. He's double working. He's
Yeah.
incredible.
So I'm excited about it because I know that once you get to that threshold, then it's going to be like, because with him being home, he, first of all, gives you more time to do what you're doing. And
Yeah.
it gives him time so that you guys could be like, hey, you go work and you go work. So that way, because I know that he'll be the one to be like, let me think about these partnerships, or let me think about, that next like step stuff,
It, that's exactly it.
you're the face.
Yes, I'm the mama.
And he's the like, he's gonna be the engine,
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so the goal is that I can work this together with him as hard as we can, and then when he gets home, it's gonna grow to something even more magical. We know it will.
Yes, it will. It absolutely will. Like, I mean, I just think the more people that get it in their hands and, get it on their pieces, and like once they start using it as a part of their routine, also, it's not just like how it works the first time. It's
Yeah,
also like over time, you're like, oh, I'm so glad I have this. Oh, let me just clean this real quick. Like, like yesterday, I had a friend over and we were going to share like we were going to use the same, like, anyway, it doesn't matter. I cleaned the piece in between, you know, boop,
yes.
boop, 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 right? And it's so perfect. Um, all
Aw.
right. Yes. So, um, Richard just said, did you just say that teacher salaries aren't enough to pay for daycare? Not for 3 kids, that's for sure.
Just not for 3 kids in Colorado.
1 kid maybe, but not 3 kids
Not 3 of our babies.
at the same time. So you just had she and had her kids really close together. So
Yep. None of them were in school yet, so they were all. We had a newborn, we had a 1-year-old, and then we had a 2.5-year-old.
Carl, no wonder your body didn't feel like your own.
Yeah, it was a little intense, but we wouldn't change anything. Everybody's got different pregnancy stories, but my children are 100% worth it.
Of course, and and now that part is behind you. I think that, we all look at our own lives. Like I had my kids young in like the grand scheme of New York life. Like most people weren't having their kids until like they were in their mid 30s. And I was like, had my kids at 28. So I always feel like my first one. So I always felt like, you know, um, I'm happy. I'm happy for where I am now because my kids are, older. and I loved, but I, but I don't know. I have a lot of stuff about that, but this isn't about me. So, anyway, all right. So okay, here's my next question. What about business is harder than you thought it was going to be, or surprisingly hard?
I think that I felt like I realized the lack of confidence I had in myself. And then I had this confusion of, I just didn't know exactly social media and my lack of knowledge. I was letting that prevent it. I was trying my hardest to find any solution so I didn't have to do social media. And I just finally had to be like, okay, I have to do this. I got to spend the time. And I think honestly, it was the fact that I just didn't know. I don't know how to do a business. I don't know how all of these things. And so the lack of knowledge scared me and it intimidated me. And it really pushed me to use, my husband and I call it YouTube University, but it really pushed me to use it and learn. And from the 10-year-olds to the 50-year-olds, everybody had so much information. And so I'm grateful that we could learn all of that, but it's overwhelming with what you don't know.
Absolutely. But I will say that, I came to this from, 20 years in big agency world with working with big companies, and I still feel like I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, you know what I mean? And I also go to YouTube University all the time. And like, I just feel like being a business owner is a constantly like, it's like every day is different.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have no idea what's coming your way, and I think especially with social media, which is what we're going to talk about now, is, you know, it's so crazy because the way we used to run business was, you would get your product in stores and you would, so you'd be like more of a B2B person and you'd have to go do the shop, get your stuff and you'd hope. And now it's a blessing and a curse, but unless you're on social media, you're not in business.
Right.
But the reason why it's good is because you can actually be in business for basically for free.
It's true. It really is, because you can advertise for yourself. And then if people love the product, they'll share it just out of kindness, just out of the ability of how easy it is to share on social media.
Exactly. And so how is it now that you said like your biggest thing was your confidence? So what do you do how do you help yourself with that?
Well, I've learned that I benefit if I actually use cannabis before I try to record videos. That has helped my confidence a lot. I just noticed that I second guess myself. I'll second guess what I said, the way I look, the way I dress, all the little things, when in actuality, I'm the only one picking that apart. And then I had to focus and think like, okay, why is it that I don't want to? What is it that scares me about sharing on social media? And I think it was just all that I had built up in my head, that I wasn't going to make it. I wasn't going to be good enough. I wasn't going to be the best. But that's not what it is. I'm not trying to be the best. I'm trying to just be me. And people are going to like me for me. If they don't, they're going to unlike me. They're going to unfollow me. They might even delete me, block me, whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah,
So
Crystal said she sessions before she makes content also. And that whole thing, she said that whole thing that you were just describing is really like imposter syndrome, but I also call it like this, well, I talked about this in my reel yesterday, is like this like perfectionism.
yes.
We say it's perfectionism, but it's actually fear. It's fear cloaked in ego, right? Because you're like, well, I can't put anything that's not perfect out into the world because I'm too good for that. Like I'm not. I have very high standards. I think I don't like it when I see other people who put sort of not that good stuff out into the world. I'm kind of like, why would you do that?
Right.
And then when I came out of the corporate world, I had to realize that like corporate, like the corporate world, you cannot have a typo, you cannot have a glitch, nothing, because it's a Fortune 100 company. They can't be no mistakes, zero mistakes.
Right.
But like when I got into cannabis and it's really getting into social media, I realized how limited everybody's attention span is. And I'm like, what's the point of making it perfect when I could make more stuff if I spent less time? So trying to like, of course, I still like want it to be good, but there's a far distance between good and perfect.
Yes, I would agree with that. Hold on one moment. I have to
Yeah.
tell. It's just the chapstick. It's right by where we put all of our coins. Sorry.
Right.
Chapstick.
Yeah, and yes. So
I think that's exactly it, though, is that you get so worried it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect when people aren't looking. You have their attention span for 7 seconds, 15 seconds, and then the longer ones, hopefully you have them for longer. But it's really quick, 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 quick because we live in this fast pace.
yep. And also, like, I always think about this too. I used to say this to my kids. I think my mom used to say this to me. Like, when you go out on the street, right, and you're walking around and you are out shopping, let's just say, no one else is thinking about you. Everyone else is only thinking about them. So if you just like you're only thinking about you, right? I mean, do you maybe you pass someone and you have like a momentary thought about them.
Right.
Maybe it's a judgment, maybe it's a thought, whatever, but you're not like, and it's the same thing with social media is that people aren't looking like, people are like, keep going. People are actually wanting you to do well, like,
Yeah.
or the people that you want to be in your life. The people who would like who would be like, oh my God, her captions are overlapping. She sucks at this. Fuck those people.
But you're exactly right. And I think that's what also surprised me the most is being in the cannabis industry. I am blown away by the support. Blown away. I have seen other companies and I have seen my friends create products and I have seen the little support that they can get just from social medias. But I will give down. The cannabis industry is so inviting. And when you meet the people who, at least from my experience, who you can tell just by the way that they're talking to you, they want the best for you. And they haven't even met you. And that's amazing to me.
I agree. I think the cannabis industry has, both types, but I do think that especially the moms in the cannabis industry are
Yes.
extremely supportive of one another. And we all know that there's room for all of us.
Yes.
If you like, it's kind of like if you want to be in, you're in.
Yes.
And everybody's like, look, being in this industry is really challenging and really can be very overwhelming and stressful. And like many of us are, struggling from a financial standpoint, but are really like dedicated to being in this industry. And I think if you want to be in, you're in, but you have to show up and you have to be consistent. But if you do, then you get all the support.
Yes. Yes. I think you're exactly right.
Yeah. Um, so content. So you said that, putting yourself out there, making content, that was the biggest challenge for
Yes.
you in business. Like the biggest like surprise, like, oh God, I have to do this.
That's exactly it. I mean, I think that back in the day, I had a Facebook and I had learned how to like schedule posts. And so on Instagram, it was just a little bit different because I felt like there was more of, I didn't know how to schedule posts and things like that. So learning that you could create reels as drafts, learning that you could go and find like, so another thing that I'm particular about is how much time I spend on my phone. Um, I try to give myself just time slots, and so that way I'm not always on my phone in front of my kids. And so when I do go on, sometimes I'll have my kids listen with me and we'll just listen to audio. And so we'll lay on the floor, we'll all close our eyes and we'll just listen. And if they like it, then I'll save it. And or if I like it or something. And then it helps me to already have the audio. And so when I go back to take the video, then it's okay, I've got an audio to match this. And then I can save it as a draft and I can go back and edit it. And so I like how many steps I was able to break it up into rather than this idea of like I have to create a post. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And I think once you start thinking about it as a content strategy, like it's an overall, across the week, I'm trying to get this many messages across and this many things done. But like, that doesn't mean that they have to all be like done on Sunday night, or they all have to be, that you can't just, like, as you said the other day when we spoke, like, you can just do one in the moment sometimes, if you have the audio there and you're like, oh my God, that would be perfect. I'm in the mood to do that. Like, boop, boop. And you set, and you send it.
It doesn't sound that, I mean, just listening and saving that audio, and then in the back of your head, it saves it. Like you said, like the other day in the kitchen, I was like, nobody's around. I've got that song stuck in my head. I'm ready. I can make the video now. And it took me 5 minutes. And yes, that little helpful tint just wiped away my expectation of how to use social media. And I think just kind of created that blank slate of, hold on, you've got this. It's not as overwhelming. Just take a breath, take it as you go. You don't have to have it all figured out, because
And that's
changing.
like, that's the perfect tee up for, we're starting this community. We just started it on Monday.
Yes.
It's called Curious Business Builders, and it's a place for all of us to help each other with these types of tips, like, because it can become very overwhelming. But if you have some strategies like saving audio, also, like, we're going to share audio in there. So Crystal's amazing at like finding the new trending audios, and she's like sends them to me, and she's always like hot on the like cusp of it. So we're going to share that like in the community, so that it can be like, hey, let's all use this audio, or, or here's some ideas for how to use this audio and stuff. So
I'm so excited for this community. I'm just
yes.
community that isn't challenging to work with. Instagram is beyond challenging to work with, just as a business. And so I couldn't even imagine working with people on Instagram, because it's just not ideal for me. I need something more. And what you're building in Hi Curious is exactly what I feel like we are going to need to be able to continue to grow this, with the support of with the support of the people who love Mama Jane's Cleaner too.
Exactly, because the biggest challenge that you have in business is recommunicating with your customer, right? Because you have their emails and stuff like that, but how, like, you don't open those emails unless you want to buy, right? And like, you're like, oh, I need to re-up or whatever, but like you see, and brands are seeing now, which is like funny, because I've been trying to tell them this for years, but like, that if you make more content, and if other people make content for you, then that's like the magic combination, right? Because it's really that word of mouth endorsement that you want. So your Hi Curious community will become a place where your loyal customers will be able to share with each other how they clean, share with you, and then also make content for you because they love it. It's just organic.
And it just gives that one-way funnel to be like, this is where we can communicate. It feels more like a community, rather than like getting an email saying you have to do this, X, Y, and Z. I don't want an email. I want it to be personal. I want you to know me. I want you to know Hi Curious. I want you to know Crystal, who's going to be working with us. I don't want you to see Crystal's name on an email.
Right,
No.
right. Yep. Yes, Crystal says she tries. She's given herself props. So I was going to make a suggestion to you that I hope won't stress you out with like another thing to do, but I try to give you some value every time we talk.
Yeah. Oh, I'm grateful for it.
And I was going to recommend that you get on LinkedIn.
Oh, yes. Okay. I don't know anything about LinkedIn except when you've talked about it, so I will do some research.
So LinkedIn is a professional network where business owners, especially in the cannabis industry, it's a really, really good community of business leaders in the cannabis industry. Okay. And I'd really love for you to be a part of that community, because those are the people that are going to the conferences, that are like the national conferences. That's where you're going to meet, like, that's where Scott Jennings from Pantry reached out to me, and he said, I got the Mama Jane's Cleaner. He's like, it worked amazing. He's like, tell me again what the ingredients are. And he's like, I want to reach out to Amanda to thank her for her nice note and whatever. And he's like, is she on LinkedIn? Can you introduce us? And I was like, I'm trying to get her on LinkedIn, but no, she's not. So, he's also on Instagram, but he doesn't DM on Instagram. That's not what he does. He's had.
Oh,
So
that's going to make, I turned 30 this week. So, or this weekend. So that's going to be my goal before I turn 30 is to get on LinkedIn.
Well, that's a pretty good goal. Because it gives you the chance to, like, once you get on there, I'll like kind of tell you who to connect with. I'll introduce you to a bunch of people so that you'll have a little like start to the community and tell you who to follow and stuff. And, it would be something that you would probably try to add to your, maybe every other day, every third day that you would just go on there and like either, you don't even have to make posts, just comment on other people's posts. Like, this is not for you to like start putting yourself out there on LinkedIn. It's
Right.
more of a place for you to like have like a business page, which you can have a business page, and you can also have your personal page. And so that way, if anybody wants to know about your business, who's like an investor type or, like other business owners, it's just a lot like people just take people very more seriously on LinkedIn than on Instagram from a business owner standpoint.
That's completely understandable. Okay. Are there any other social medias that you would recommend getting on? Because
I
I don't.
mean, look, like we
Criteria to do
YouTube. I mean, YouTube. Like if I were to say there's the big three, right? Instagram for me, LinkedIn because of cannabis, and YouTube.
Okay.
The reason why YouTube is good is because you can like add, like, let's say you want to expand your website and for more SEO and stuff like that, because you have a pretty simple website right now. So,
Yep.
like, if you want to have a bunch of videos that you make and, you have all your videos and you upload them to YouTube, then they can also be ported over to your website from YouTube. You can like bring them in with source code.
Okay.
So that way, and then, you have all of your how-to videos, all of your testimonial videos are also available on your site. So if somebody's making a decision about purchase, they can, see them right there. So
Right.
just that would be my other recommendation is YouTube.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I'm
But
gonna do.
like, it's so hard. So I just want you to know that it's so hard. Okay. So like, don't even feel bad about it. Like, and I just want to say this to everybody, like, I have Crystal, who is amazing. She's like, she thinks in social media, like,
Mm-hmm.
and we still are really only nailing a couple platforms. You know what I mean? And I don't even think we're nailing it, but we're getting there. You know what I mean? Like, like Clubhouse, another one. Like, it's a great Clubhouse is so great, but the question is, how much time are you going to spend on your phone? You're not like, if maybe when Tyler is no longer working outside the house, you could say, I'm going to take an hour to go listen to a Clubhouse while you
Right.
take the girls to do blah blah blah.
Right.
But like, you're not going to want to like add more time to your day. So like the only thing I would suggest is that Clubhouse on Sunday mornings that I told you about.
Yes.
That is really valuable. So if it's at 10 to 12 your time,
Okay.
9 to 11 my time.
The
And
club.
it's on Clubhouse. You have to download the Clubhouse app to your phone.
Okay.
And it's Bianca High Society Momma, who I know you have a great relationship with, and I'm excited about your giveaway that you guys are doing. And it's just this week, it's about community and building community in cannabis and all the different communities and how to be a part of a community and why community is so important in the cannabis industry.
Okay.
So I just think even if you don't chip in or talk or anything like that, just to have like one headphone in for even a half an hour, I guarantee you'll be like, oh my God, I love this. I got to come back. Cause it's just all these moms really, it's testimony for cannabis, constantly. And all your customers are in there, and so you'll be able to really relate with them as well as, tell them about your product and everyone will probably buy it.
Oh, I love you. I would love to be able to I love when I have the opportunity to grow. I know that I'm not supposed to stay the same. I know that we are meant to grow and to be pushed and to meet new people.
Yep. So,
Okay.
all right. So those are my tips for you. today. And okay. So what else? What else? Um I got through all my questions.
Oh, yay.
And we have 10 minutes left. So we're perfect. We're perfect. Yes, I have my my bi-weekly finance meeting at 9, so it's like
Oh, yes. Well, I'm glad to start that off. Awesome.
yeah.
Before.
Well, I started it with you, so it's good. All right. So what do you let's just see. What is what do you think what's the most surprising thing you found about being in business over the course of the past, like, how long have you guys been in business? Like a year and a half now, a year?
We've been in business 2 years now.
2 years.
2 years. It's been, I think the most surprising has got to just be, I think I'm really blown away by the support. Like meeting somebody like you, that's, I know that I would, if I had not done Mama Jane's business and not created this, I don't know where I would have been. I don't know if I would have, I just think that this happened for a reason. I genuinely do. And I think that people come in my life for a reason, and that what you put out into this world, you're going to get back, you know? And so if you put out kindness, you're going to get it back, and you're going to meet people who you want to surround yourself with, you know? And so I think the people, 100%. Like the fact that I get to go to Colorado next time to go see my family and come visit everybody, and then I also get to come meet you in person. Oh, it gives me goosebumps.
The community aspect is really amazing. I mean, and I think that it's like the beauty of it is that cannabis is hard. Cannabis is, stigmatized. And so those of us who believe in its power, we all feel a kinship with each other because we're all fighting. We all, as Bianca said on Sunday, we don't have everything in common, but we have one thing in common.
Yes.
And that one thing is that we know that cannabis really helps us, and we think that it could help others.
We do, and I think that's the one of the hardest parts is being able to talk so freely about cannabis to friends. I mean,
Yeah, tell me more about that because you're just moving into that. I want to hear about that.
yeah, so like you go over to somebody's house for like a play date or dinner, they're going to be quick to offer, you want a glass of wine, you want something to drink, but the moment that you maybe bring up cannabis, it just has a negative condensation about it, I guess. Not condensation.
Connotation.
Yes. And so I think that, so when I started to recommend, I was a little hesitant. Personally, I use CBD and THC. I use high society CBD. I really, really like the ability that if I need to be on top of it, but I also feel like I need just
Like,
a slow down, focus on one thing at a time. Exactly. I like that cannabis can just help me with that. It allows me to be just relaxed, I guess. And then at the end of the day, I'm exhausted. I am so tired, and I could still keep going, until my husband jokes, but until I sit down on the couch, I'll just go. I'll find other things to do. And the sad part is I'll do that even like if I have friends over or if I have play dates. I'll constantly fill our time with like, oh, we can do this, 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 and this. And so one time I asked a friend, hey, I'm going to take a hit of my cannabis since you're over, and I'm just going to force myself to relax because there's a million things inside my house I know I need to do, but I want to have this ability to sit and talk to you. Our kids are upstairs playing, they're having fun. We've got the husbands, we're okay. And she ended up saying like, yeah, let's try it. I'll do it with you. And so we sat there and we were like, wow. And our kids came down and our kids talked to us and we could totally talk to them. I, coming from just a family that when you drank and a kid came up, parents would immediately be like, I can't talk to you. I can't have this conversation. I'm too overwhelmed, And so I like that when I'm using cannabis and if my kids come down, if I see my kids, if I'm around my kids, I feel that it gives me just a little boost to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more calm, and I can focus. I have 3 kids. 3 kids talk to me constantly, especially when we have friends over. So that ability to calm down and focus and listen was a life changer. And my friend and I still talk about it, and we've gone so far to recommend to other moms that, hey, have you ever heard of cannabis? Have you ever tried it? Did you know there's gummies? Did you know there's things you don't even have to smoke? Did you know there's things you can put in your drinks? Or 1906 makes little
Pills.
pills dissolve in your mouth. There's so many different options. And so it's empowering to know that we're encouraging other moms that alcohol doesn't have to be the only thing. And then
Right.
sitting in your anxiety or sitting in all of the stressors of being a mom doesn't have to be a normal. You can feel relaxed. You can feel at peace. That's possible. And
Right.
so just sharing that it's possible.
Totally. And like it feels kind of strange sometimes to be like, hey, I think that everyone could really do well with a little bit of this. Like, because
Yeah.
it feels like you're like this like drug pusher or something, but then you're like, you just see in people how much like like this is a perfect example. My sister called me on Monday. She had her in-laws over for like they overstayed their welcome, let's just say. And they stayed longer than she thought, and there was just so many of them, and it was just overwhelming for her, and her house felt a mess, and like everything was just she has a very small place, like everything just blah. So
Yeah.
she was like telling me, she was complaining about them. She was like, I know that like Daryl, I was like, so I was trying to talk her down, and say the positive things like, our family is not so easy either. And your husband has handled us a lot more than anyway. But what I really wanted to say is you need to smoke. Like,
Yes.
as soon as you smoke about this and you're just like, whatever, you'll just literally, it'll change your mind about it. You'll be able to say all the things that I'm saying to you. You'll rationalize it down. And on the other side, you'll just be like, whatever, they're gone. Thank God. And you'll be fine.
Yes.
But
And it
like,
won't hurt.
it won't what? Linger.
Yes.
Right. Like a hangover where you can't stop like
Mhm.
processing it. Like just smoke a little, process it, and be done with it. You
Yes.
know? But my sister doesn't smoke weed so at all, and she's like very um both of us had the same reactions to it when we first tried it when we were like younger, and now she still has that reaction to it. And it's like I understand where it's coming from with her, and I know she can get past it because I got past it. It's like you have anxiety and then you get high and then you have anxiety when you're high, and then it's like 10x worse. But I think that there's a way to talk yourself off that ledge
Yes.
when you were smoking, but you don't have, when you first start, you don't have the capacity to like have that sort of dual conversation yet.
Yes. You have to be very, yes. We've had a lot of friends that I feel like have overdone it with like an edible, and then the paranormal of too much anxiety, and you're like, whoa, this is the opposite effect.
Right. But like, I think what has happens to my sister, because even when she'll have just a little bit, she'll be like, am I high? Am I high yet? Like, and I did that too. And then be like, you overthink everything double instead of like the opposite, which is what you're supposed to do, which is just like stop thinking about everything.
Right. That's just, you're like, all right, am I feeling it yet? And am I feeling it? That's exactly it. You,
Yeah, yeah. But so I was like, you really need some weed. But I was like, no, don't say it. Because she lives in Massachusetts. So, I mean, she can get it anytime she wants.
yes.
And
Oh,
actually, she recently bought some and she like has it in her house. But she's like, I don't even know. I'm not doing anything with it. Like, I don't even know. It's just sitting there taunting me.
but that's a step. That's a step that she bought it. You
It
just,
is.
time you go and visit.
She doesn't want to smoke it with me for whatever reason. She thinks I'm going to put like pressure on her to like do a lot or something. I have no idea. Like, or to be like, it's not a big deal, like, or whatever. I have no idea. But I really respect her, for that.
Yeah.
I was there
Right.
once.
Just it. Everybody's got to realize that each cannabis use is different for each person.
That little hand over there.
Yes.
Mommy.
Okay.
Is that the middle one?
The youngest. You want to say hi? No. No. Oh,
Well, I have to jump to my call, and this has been great. Was there anything else that you wanted to say or talk about or make sure that you mentioned today?
I just wanted to mention that today is our last day of our giveaway, and we are doing an incredible giveaway with so many amazing women. High society, the Danielle who wrote The Weed Mom. We've got Joelle with the Moonray Resin custom ashtray. We have so many amazing people. So feel free to check out our Instagram with our giveaway.
I'm so excited. I saw that giveaway and I was like, ooh, I love all these collabs. Everybody's like crossing streams and supporting each other. And that's just everything that we need.
That's exactly true.
So, all right. Well, I'm so excited that you're going to be joining the Curious Business Builders community. Don't forget to go ahead and join.
Yes.
Started already.
Right?
What?
You sent the email, right?
I didn't send you an email, but I did tag you in a couple places on the app where where you could just go ahead and subscribe.
Okay, perfect. I'll do that on
cool. And I can't wait for that. And I'm doing a workshop on Friday morning where we're going to be just talking about the book we're reading for the group and just how we're getting started in our homework. There's already a homework assignment for this week. So
yay. Okay, I need to get on that now. Okay.
All right, girl. Well, this has been great. Thank you so much for the time. And I look forward to our time next week. And
sounds
everything.
Good.
All right. Good luck with everything.
Thank
Yeah. Crystal said this was great. So great to learn more about you.
Oh, thank you, Crystal. Bye, guys.
Bye. Bye, guys.